Hello, I've got two people here anyway. I don't know what happened before, guys. I put a little post out to see anybody who wanted to have a live, and nobody replied, but I think it might be my phone. I've just got a new ring light and it's really making circles in my glasses, and I don't know what to do. Anyway, you've got your A level tomorrow. This is for A level. Hopefully there's nobody for GCSE. Hello. Nobody from GCSE here because that live is tomorrow. Just got back from the gym. I was at the gym and then I saw a couple of messages saying, are you not going live? And I was like, no, because nobody replied to my post. But maybe it was, I don't know, my phone's been being a bit weird on most platforms at the moment. So maybe it was that. So if we have any questions, just type them up. Yes, you can watch it back later. Yeah, no, it's GCSE. It's not GCSE. Tomorrow is GCSE. Tonight is A level because A level's tomorrow, and GCSE is Friday. So I'm gonna do that tomorrow. I'm sorry. I apologise about the rings in my eyes, but it's my ring light. I might even send it back. Can you type any questions out that you want to? I will put this online for you to watch later. I would give you a little bit of advice, first of all, before you start asking questions. And I would say, number one is if you get any maths questions that are a little bit tricky, leave them, okay? Don't waste time doing maths questions that you don't really understand. So if I got something on chi-squared or Spearman rank I'd be okay. But if I got anything on chi-squared or something like that, I'll be honest with you, I'd just leave it out. And then I'll come back to it at the end if I had a little bit of time. So do that. Secondly, sediment cells, maybe not. Secondly, I would make sure that in every 12 and 20 marker that you make sure that you assess, okay, or evaluate. Make sure that for every point that you make in every new paragraph that you're saying, you know, geology is the most important factor on a coastline, or I don't know, a water strategy or something. Make sure you are making it very clear to the examiner that you are assessing that particular factor. So you could say, like, in my opinion, I believe that this is the most significant factor because, and then you can use your case study. Then the next paragraph might say, however, another factor that is not as important as geology in erosion on the coastline is fetch. That's because a long fetch to the northeast, blah, blah, blah. But make sure that you assess, because even if you forget your case study factors, you need to make sure that you assess. You will gain more points by assessing than you will by just explaining and regurgitating your stuff. Right, predictions. I was on my Edexcel site yesterday and they were talking about the following things, right? I'm not sure I agree, but this is what people are saying. Tsunamis hasn't come up. I don't think, and that's what they were saying anyway. So just have a look at tsunamis. The two that you've got are Boxing Day tsunami in 2004 in the Indian Ocean, and you've also got the Japan tsunami. So maybe you have a look at them about secondary impacts or how tsunamis are formed, etc. Then the other thing that they were saying is that what hasn't come up for a little while anyway is the theoretical, for tectonics, this is the theoretical, the theories. So your PAR model or your Parkes model or your risk equation. So just have a look at those tonight, so you know what the pressure release model is, that you know what Parkes model is, that you know what the hazard risk equation is, and that you can kind of like talk about how, you know, in Haiti it was you know, the vulnerability and the capacity to cope that has an impact on them, whereas in Japan it was maybe more the vulnerability, maybe, or the hazard itself rather than the vulnerability or the possibility to cope. Coasts, I think, should be okay. I think coasts is generally okay. Just make sure that you know emergent landscapes and submergent landscapes in case it asks about climate change and isostatic and eustatic change. What else? With water, make sure you know some of your water strategies. So make sure you know the Colorado, make sure you know the Murray-Darling Basin, make sure you know the South-North transfer, make sure you know a little bit about desalinization, maybe in the Middle East and Israel. And again, just make sure that you're assessing those points. 3 case studies for each section of the paper. Can I name 3 case studies? Okay, let's have a go, Hella. Let's have a look for well, it depends what you're doing. So for tectonics, you've obviously got Haiti for earthquakes, you've got Japan for earthquakes, you've got maybe Pakistan for earthquakes, and Nepal for earthquakes, and China, the Sichuan earthquake. Then for volcanoes, you have to be a bit careful here. You've got E15, you've got Mount Merapi, and you have got, I can't think of another one. So that's for tectonics. And then you've got the 2 tsunamis, which I mentioned before. Oh, you've got the Philippines as a multiple hazard zone as well, remember? And you've got Haiti as a multiple hazard zone. Then for coasts, you've got, well, we have got, in my school, you've got the Holderness coastline. We use the Kent coastline because that's where we did our field work. You may well have the Jurassic coast there as well. That's probably what you've done. In which case you could use separate places along that coastline. So if you've got Holderness, you'd be talking about Hornsea, Withensea, and those places along there. Some of them are protected and some aren't. You talk about Cowden Farm and the groins that were put in Withensea that caused the longshore drift to stop, terminal groin syndrome, and the 9 meters of erosion, etc. In rivers, in water, I think I've just named those. So you've got the Murray-Darling Basin in Australia, you've got Colorado in the USA, you will have the South-North Transfer in China, you will have the Nile, you may well have the Euphrates as well. It depends what you did, it depends which areas you did. 20 marker. Yeah, do a small intro for 20 mark. Iceland volcano, St. Helens volcano, Montserrat. Yeah, that's fine for volcanoes. I would say maybe Merapi, because the Iceland one, there wasn't a lot of management there, so I would have another look at the management. For the 20 marker, yeah, a very brief intro where you're just talking about, you're just basically laying out what you're going to talk about. So what your case studies are and what your factors are, perhaps. So if it's the 20 marker on coast and it says geology's evaluate the view that geology is the most important factor in erosion of the landscape. Say, this, whatever you're going to start it with, geology really is, perhaps could be considered, but other things need to be considered as well, like fetch, structure in the rock, human land use, environmental concerns, etc. And then I would say 4 points for a 20 marker. I'd say 3 points for a 12 marker. And 4 points for a 20 marker. If you're really struggling, with 4 points, then obviously you can only write 3. But I would say 4 case studies or 4 main points or 4 factors. The other thing that's really, really important, if you get the question, evaluate the significance of a factor, you must talk about other factors. So evaluate the significance of geology on the coastline, you must talk about other factors. Evaluate the influence of, climate change in water supply, you must talk about other factors. Please do not forget to do that. Do not forget to think of the other factors, otherwise you are really limiting yourself. I'll come back to sediment cells because it's not my strong point. I actually teach human geography at school, to be honest, but I am a physical geographer, so I do know some stuff about physical geography. Sand dunes is a good call. Salt marshes is also a good call. So just kind of make sure that you know how they're formed. I don't think they've come up for a while. So you make sure with the sand dunes, you know how it's windblown sand, you know the different dunes, the embryo dune, and then, going back to the grey dune, etc., that kind of thing. So make sure you know that. I'm just going to grab a book to look at the sediment cells. Maybe. I'm not sure I've got an AS book here. So sediment cells, sediment cells are tricky. What I would say is it's a closed cell. And then in the sediment cell, you've obviously got erosion on the cliff face and from the river. Rivers bring a lot of sediment. Come here. Come on. Jump up then. Jump up. Ooh. So rivers obviously bring a lot of sediment to the coast. Then you've got the erosion on the coastline, and then you have got I'm doing a live shop, and then I've got and then you've got the longshore drift along the coastline, and then it kind of gets taken out to sea and taken all the way back around again. So that's what I would say about those. Who knows with sediments? I don't think sediment cells will be a 20 marker. I really don't think there's enough to write about. What else can we say, Luna? What else do we know? Carbon, make sure that you know your multiple hazard zones are the Philippines and Haiti. It's A-level, Zach. Yeah, it's A-level. So GCSE is tomorrow. GCSE is tomorrow at 7 o'clock, but I might change it to 8 so I can go to the gym. Haiti is a multiple hazard zone because, well, yeah, it is, because it gets hurricanes as well as earthquakes, so it's still a multiple hazard zone, as Philippines also gets hurricanes or cyclones as well as Luna. Oh my god. Oh god. Gets hurricanes as well as volcanic eruptions. Oh god, you know what, the 20 marker, I don't know, because I don't want the last marker, no, because I've given up sugar, as well, you know. Do you think the 20 marker would be water, carbon, or both? I think it's hard to tell. We were looking the other day, and one year it's been 2 carbons, another year it's been water, carbon. It's really difficult to say, if I'm honest with you. I really, really can't call that. I think you just need to know both of them. Somebody keeps saying surely not Haiti. So Haiti has earthquakes. It has hydromet. It has hydromet hazards as well. So I think it is. Otherwise, why is the Philippines a multiple hazard zone as well? Any more questions? I would say the main thing is, if you're not sure of facts and figures, make it up. If you're not sure tonight on a question that you look up, use AI. I use AI all the time with my Japan as a multiple hazard zone. Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah, for a HIC. Yeah, you're right. Wilfred, you're right. Yeah, because Japan will be earthquakes, tsunamis, and volcanoes. So yeah, you're right. I'm not. How bad? If I can't remember facts and figures, I wouldn't worry too much, to be honest. What I would do is I'd look at your facts and figures in the morning, have them on your little crib cards. Then what I would do is, when I get to the exam, before I look at the paper, I would turn the paper over and I would write down as many facts and figures as I could remember straight off the top of my head. And as long as you're in the right ballpark, you'll be okay. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And they can't down mark you. They can only mark you up. They can't negatively mark. So, you know, if you're saying, like, you know, 3 people died in the Haiti earthquake, then that's blatantly wrong. But if you say, like, you know, in excess of 200,000 people died, you're going to get a mark for that. So don't worry. How much should I realistically write for the 6 markers? Right. This is a problem with you've got to remember that 6 markers are almost like 2-3 markers. So the 6 marker will probably say explain. So you're looking at 2 points, 2 good points, well explained. So like a PEE. So, like, you know, you do, I don't know if you do at school, but we sometimes look at like, and then this leads to like a BLT, like, because then this leads to that kind of thing. So don't get caught up, because some of my students spend far too long at the 8 markers. And again, the 8 markers are sometimes just 2 points well explained as well, with some facts and figures in. So don't spend a long time. Just get your 2 points done, move on, and then if you've got time at the end, go back to those 4 8 markers, because you've got to get to the 20 marker. You've got to finish it. Evaluate the... Oh my god. Let's have a look. Evaluate the role of energy players in secure energy pathways and supplies. Now, we were looking at this the other day. Energy pathways and supplies is about how energy gets to places. So the energy players would be the governments, it would be the energy companies, it would be the people who buy the energy. So they have got a lot to do with it. So you could talk about Ukraine here. You could talk about problems of supply going through, maybe like the Suez Canal. Remember when the Suez Canal closed? You would talk about OPEC, exactly. Yeah, you would talk about those players. Now, energy pathways and supply. Energy pathways would be the journey that the energy takes from its source to where it's going. So that could be war, could have an impact on it. Having sanctions put on a country would have an impact on it. Your country changing it up, its energy mix, etc. And supplies would definitely be OPEC, because OPEC obviously control the production of oil and gas. So you could talk about, I don't know what you've done on this, but you could talk about how, you know, Saudi Arabia controls the flow of oil to keep Iran in check, because very often Saudi Arabia will overproduce oil, so the price goes down in order for Iran not to have the money to buy arms, because there is political instability in the region. So that would be the supplies, if you see what I mean. So you could talk about how that's what I would say. And I would just take, you've got two things you have to do. You've got to think about your players. Yeah, OPEC is an IGO, yeah. So your players are the groups, and then the pathways and supplies. So you'd have to answer both of those. So I would do the first half of the essay on pathways of how it gets to where it's going, and then say like what the impact of the players is there. And then I would do another paragraph or two on the, I've lost it now, on the supplies. So how OPEC controls the supply, whereas Saudi Arabia controls the supply. So that is a good question, actually. No, you're okay, you're okay. I know you might cry, but let's have a look. For tectonics, it's a question like, for tectonics, unconventional fossil fuels. Isn't that carbon, unconventional fossil fuels? Wouldn't that be in carbon? Assess the social environmental impacts of unconventional. Yeah, sorry, it's carbon. Yeah, it's okay. I just thought I'd got it wrong. Yeah, I like that question about social and environmental impacts of unconventional oil, fossil fuels. You could obviously use your fracking. You could use your tar sands, which is massive. I was literally just talking about this today. So from an environmental point of view, tar sands are utterly devastating because they obviously ruin the environment. They use up a huge amount of energy just to produce the tar sands, to get the tar, the bitumen off the sand. And then they obviously, you burn that fossil fuel producing carbon dioxide. And then the tailings ponds have such high quantities of toxins in them that they can cause bile duct cancer along the Athabasca River in Canada. And that's really bad for native First Nations people in Canada. So, let's have a look at what you say. Unconventional. Yeah, I would do a paragraph of social and economic on tar sands, and I do a paragraph of social and environmental, on shale sands or fracking. So you could have shale sands, obviously, and you could have fracking as well. So that's fine. You do evaluate at the end of each paragraph, yes, even for a 12 marker, 12 or 20 marker, whatever point you make, go back to the question at the start of it or the beginning, end of it, it doesn't matter. But you must say, in my opinion, this factor is very significant because, or you could say at the end, therefore we can see that this factor has real significance. Then your second paragraph will say, however, another factor that is significant but not as significant. And you're massively signposting to the examiner that you are assessing. Okay, you've got to show that. Now, I tell my students to look at an assess or an evaluate question almost exactly the same. I know they're slightly different command words, but I get them to almost evaluate their assess questions, because then there is no doubt that you've answered the question assess, which means weigh up, doesn't it? Weigh up the importance of a point. And evaluate just means weigh up the importance of a point and then come to a conclusion, really, doesn't it? Justified conclusion. So I would definitely, I would evaluate, yeah. Matteo, I would definitely, first factor, evaluate, second factor, evaluate, third factor, evaluate, and then conclusion. Absolutely. We covered that carbon one. Introduction, I would do a very small introduction for a 20 marker. 12 marker, absolutely not. Crack on. Just go. Geology is an important factor. For a 20 marker, it might be worth saying what all your factors are or what your case studies are, because then if you run out of time, the examiner can see where you're going. I would maybe do a plan as well. Hang on. No, I know, but I'm saying, would you do 2 paragraphs, 1 social, yes, I would do 1 social, 1 environmental, definitely, yeah. You've got to hit every point in the question. So what I would do is I'd go in and I'd highlight. So I'd look at, is it asking me for social, environmental? So I need to tick those 2. Is it asking me for, you know, the pathways and the, what was that carbon question? Pathways and the other word that it was. So I cover all those things. Don't worry too much about how structured it is, because when we're marking, we don't really look that much at structure. So you've just got to get the stuff done. Deepwater oil in Brazil. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, definitely deepwater oil in Brazil. 3 barrels of tar sands need 1 barrel of oil. Yeah, that's a really, Dylan, is it Dylan? That's a really good stat, that. To make a barrel. Yeah, that's really good. So your evaluation isn't like, but this factor can be counted by X and then move on. Yes, yeah, of course you can, yeah. Yeah, you can. Matteo, yeah, exactly. I see what you're saying. Evaluate normally means which factors got the most significance. That's what evaluate means. So you could say, not counted, but another factor which also has significance. You're really talking about the significance of the factors. Which factor has the greatest significance? I think that's kind of what, yeah, pathways and supplies. That's what it was. Hi, can I watch your videos if I do Edexcel Geography A? Yeah, you can. There's a lot of overlap with them. It doesn't really matter. It's the same case studies. How much do I need to know for each case study? I have 4 to learn. You know what? You need to know a couple of facts. It doesn't matter which facts and figures you know for your case studies. You just have to know a couple of facts and figures. Now, if you've got a case study in there that you don't know a fact or figure for, either don't worry or make it up. Because like I said at the beginning, they can't down mark you. So just make it up. Yeah, they're not going to go, oh, I'm going to take 5 marks off because they've got the thing wrong. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Any more questions? It sounds like you know what you're doing anyway, to be honest, kids. I do apologise again for being late. I put the thing up and nobody replied. I don't know what's happening on my YouTube. So I was like, oh, okay, that's fair enough. Fair enough, I won't do a live. And then when I was at the gym, some people were saying, oh, okay, you're not doing a live. And I was like, well, nobody asked for it. What does that mean? Can you help me with my geography assessment? I don't know what that means. Do I need at least 2 facts in each paragraph with the knowledge to get the high grade? Yeah, 2 or 3, that's fine. I have reasoning too. I don't know what that means. Hi to Riley. Who's Riley? Hi, Riley. So you may judge the valuation marks can come in the conclusion as long as you yes. So your evaluation or your assessment points will come throughout and then at the end, but don't leave it till the end. Do not leave it to the end, even with an assess question. Get the assessment points in, get the evaluation in as you go through. Signpost it really clearly to the examiner. If at the end of the essay you feel like you haven't done it, just go and asterisk it and write, in my opinion, this is the most important factor. Okay, can you help with my reasoning? I don't know what that means. Is that, yeah, it's Cobra Kai. It is Cobra Kai. It's what I wear to the gym. Yeah. How should I revise before the exam? As of right now, I've only just finished, as I said. What I would do is I just read through your textbook. Just read through your textbook. You know, it is what it is. Oh, I don't understand what that question is. I'm not answering that question or that question. Any more sensible questions? Yes, I will do another stream for paper 2. Thanks, Katie. Thank you very much. I don't know if have I got any people from my school here? I've got a message that's been held by the review. Assess the implications for human well-being from the degradation of the carbon cycle. Dylan, where are you getting these questions from? Assess the implication for human well-being from the degradation of the carbon cycle. I think that's to do with, I'm going to leave that one, right? I think you should AI. I'll be honest with you. I'm not going to lie. My sister goes, what? Oh, okay, they're talking to each other. They're talking to each other now. Carbon's not my strong point. I'm not going to lie to you, carbon's not my strong point. Useful last minute revision tips for the exam. Just have a look at your case studies. Just look through your case studies, get some facts and figures. Have a look at multiple hazard zones. Have a look at sand dunes and salt marshes. Ocean acidification impacts people dependent on fish and coral reefs and protection. Okay. Am I a dinner lady in my school? Am I a dinner lady? That's a little bit cheeky. I teach the human geography side of A-level. I teach all the superpowers and everything. So we'll smash that next week. 8 markers, like I just said, 8 markers normally explain. So you can use 2 or 3 points for an 8 marker. 6 and 8 markers are generally explain, and they're kind of like point explanation marks. So if you use 2 points in an 8 marker, it's got to be really well explained. If you use 3 points, you can get away with it being a little bit less explained. And a 6 marker, again, you need two main factors, very well explained, basically. So that's what I would say for 8 markers. I've got people having their own conversations here. The structure of this paper. So you've got the structure of the paper. Okay, so the first section is tectonics, and there's like a 4 marker and a 12 marker. And then you've got coasts, and that's like a 6 and an 8 and a 20. It's always 20 for coasts. Then you've got carbon and water, which are kind of merged together. And the 12 and the 20 marker could be either carbon or water. So that's how it's kind of like, right, the difference between evaluate and assess, right, they're not 8 markers, whoever's asking me that. Assess and evaluate only come up as the 12 or the 20. The 8 markers will often be explain or suggest. So the difference between evaluate and assess, I tell my students there's no difference, because I want them to like evaluate each point that they make. I want them to have ongoing evaluation, and then you'll always pick up marks. That's what I would say. Somebody keeps asking me the same questions. I'm going to go up. Can you explain block and anticyclones or the ITCZ? Is that on this paper? Block and anticyclones. Are you getting mixed up with GCSE? Because that's on GCSE. Paper 2, I will do another day for paper 2, absolutely, because I smash paper 2 because that's my thing. Yeah, I'm learning geography, and okay, I'll just ignore that one. Somebody just keeps asking me the same question. I don't think I've got any other sensible questions, to be honest. Right, what I would say is it's normally, Matteo, yeah. Oh, edX. Oh, I see. Okay, Matteo, I'll come back to your question because I can explain that. So the 8 mark. I don't know. Hala, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Let's just ignore them. Let's say EdXL. For an 8 marker, so I would say it's normally 1.2 marks per minute. Okay, so I'd say for an 8 marker, 8 or 9 minutes. For a 6 marker, 6 or 7 minutes. And for a 20 marker, you can then afford to spend 25 minutes on it. So that's normally where the marks come out, because if you divide the paper total by the number of marks, you get like 1.24 marks per minute. So you're roughly talking about just over a mark a minute, basically. Right, so I will just briefly go over that thing. So a block and anticyclone is where you've got high pressure, a very large area of high pressure that sits over maybe the interior of the United States or the UK, and all the other low pressure systems go around it. Okay, so the block and anticyclone brings very, very, very mild, not mild weather, but low winds and calm conditions. And then the other thing was the ITCZ, which is the intertropical convergence zone that is at the equator, where basically at the Hadley, at the equator where the hot air rises, cools, condenses and goes outwards. That is the ITCZ, the area of high rainfall, basically. Assess the impacts of climate warming on the components of the carbon cycle. I feel components means parts of the carbon cycle. So that'll be carbon in the air, carbon in trees and stuff, and carbon in the ground. So global warming. If you think about global warming, what it's doing is make hot places hotter. So you can have forest fires. It causes like tropical rainforests to change biomes. So the tropical rainforest biome will see a biome shift, and it will turn to maybe a savanna. So if the trees then die, then that carbon is released. 1, it's released into the atmosphere, and 2, you don't have trees to take in the carbon dioxide. Does that make sense? So that's the impact of global warming. Also, I've got a really good one for this one, the impacts of climate change or climate warming. In the Arctic, and you do this in superpowers as well, where you've got the Arctic and you've got the tundra is melting. Underneath that tundra is a load of rotting vegetation that's been there for like centuries. That will start to defrost, and it will release methane. And methane has got hydrogen in it. So you are adding a huge amount of hydrogen. Sorry, it's carbon. I don't know what I'm talking about there. Carbon, not hydrogen. It's got a huge amount of carbon in it, and that carbon will be released into the atmosphere and therefore have an impact on people. So you could use those things. Components means parts of. So it could be in the sea as well, because obviously carbon's stored in the oceans. It could mean in the atmosphere. It could mean in biology and in the plants and that kind of thing. Different stores, yeah, Jack, exactly, that's what it means. How high do you think the grade boundary? I think they'll be the same as last time. They haven't really gone up. Positive feedback mechanisms, absolutely, yeah. BIDMAS, BODMAS, why are you asking me like maths questions anyway? Brackets, oh, anyway, never mind. You're welcome, you're welcome. You're welcome. I do at Excel. It's the difference between what are we just had a crag and tail and a drumlin, between crag and tail and drumlin. Why are you asking me glaciation questions? A crag and tail, actually, I do know this because I did glaciation when I was at uni. A crag and tail is, you know, Edinburgh, that's a crag and tail. So you've got a very hard rock at the top, which is igneous, and then slightly softer rock. So the crag gets left and the tail gets eroded. So the Royal Mile at Edinburgh is the tail and the crag is the castle. And a drumlin is actually, oh my God, a drumlin is deposition in a valley after the glaciers melted, something like that anyway. General tips I've given that person who's called Ellen Moran 22. I give some general tips at the beginning, so you can watch this from the beginning because I'll post it as well. General tips are: make sure you assess every paragraph or evaluate every paragraph. Make sure if you get a maths question, you don't spend a lot of time on it. If you don't really understand it, just move on. Okay, move on. Can I ask? No, you can't ask a maths question because I will not be able to answer it. Not only am I not very good on carbon, I'm also not very good in maths. Right, okay, so I've been half an hour now. I think we're done. Development of India, that's not even on this paper. That's GCSE or another exam board. I don't know what to tell you. Any other sensible questions? If I were you now, I'd just go and read through my textbook. I'd learn a few facts and figures. I'd write them down on a piece of paper. That's what I would do. So I'm going to go now, okay? And good luck. You'll be fine. I just want you to remember that you can get 30% of this paper wrong and still come out with an A, okay? Because the grade boundary is 69.71 for an A. You can get 30% of this paper wrong. So do not concentrate on what you don't know. Concentrate on what you do know. Okay, concentrate on what you know and do not think about what you don't know. Let it go. All right, just forget it, forget it. You can get 30% wrong. So don't get caught up with what you don't know. Okay. Have I been anywhere around the world? Are you just interviewing me now for a job? I've been to America quite a lot. I've got some videos from America actually, and I'm back there in the summer, and I'll be posting some of my walks in the summer because I'm going to do some really crazy walking in the summer. You're welcome. I'm going to go now. So yeah, good luck. I think I did have one question there. What video? You know what? Just go through and have a look. I'd look at the structure. I would look at the structure, the questions that I've done on structure. Which is the measure monitoring equipment they use for earthquakes? It's the Richter scale, isn't it? Yeah, the Richter scale is for magnitude, and the Mercalli scale is for the damage that's done. Okay. All right. So I think that's all it is. You can't ask a maths question. And I think that's it. So I'm going to go if I can figure out how to turn this off. And I will do another one for paper 2. So make sure you turn up. All right. And paper 2, we're going to smash paper 2. Good luck, everybody. Thank you very much. You're welcome. You're welcome. It's evening here. I'll see you all soon. Good luck, good luck, good luck. And maybe make a little, tell me how the exam went. Okay. Tell me how the exam went. So good luck, everybody. Okay. Bye.